Hello, everybody. Super Toe Productions here, and today we have.
John Szymanski.
So, for the viewers who don't know you, who are you?
I that is a very philosophical question, isn't it? No, I am game dev. I have made a couple games that have kind of made the rounds on YouTube and Steam. Kyle is Famous was kind of the first big one that I did. I did My Friendly Neighborhood, which is probably the game I'm most known for, and then I'm working currently on a game called Secret Agent Wizard Boy and the International Crime Syndicate.
So, how did you come up with the idea for My Friendly Neighborhood?
Well, it was a bit of a combination of ideas. I've always liked survival horror. I think survival horror is really one of those sort of genres that speaks to me very deeply. I like the theming. I like the strategy of resource management and stuff like that. And then you kind of think about that and you think, okay, what am I going to be able to mix into this to make something fresh and different and unique, but then also something that other people are going to take notice of and want to engage with. Well, I thought that puppets would be a very good candidate for that for a few reasons. First of all, they're funny, they're fun. I like puppets quite a lot. I always have. But also because they're gangly, they're weird. They look kind of off-putting. They can, do these weird contortions that kind of almost mimics like what a zombie can do, things like that. And then considering that I hadn't really seen many other puppety horror-y things happening in not the YouTube space. What am I saying? In the video game space, up until that point, I felt like it was an opportunity to find a balance between what I thought was interesting and what hadn't been done to that point. So, yeah, I mean, when you think about game conceptualization, it's always a factor of many different things coming together. But that's kind of where I was at that point.
So, I guess this question kind of ties in, but how did you get into game development?
Well, I guess I wouldn't say there was a point where I quote unquote got into it. I started doing game production stuff when I was like 14 in Game Maker, mostly because my older brother David had also been doing game development stuff in Game Maker. And I don't know, as a younger brother, I thought that was interesting and I liked video games a lot. But it kind of clicked, and once I started working on it, it kind of stuck really quickly. And so there was a point at which I realized, oh yeah, this makes a lot of sense. And it's no surprise. I was making like board games from pieces of cardboard all the way from when I was like 4 or 5 years old. So the tendency to want to do something like that was already there. It was just a matter of unlocking it in this new way via video game development.
So, was there any particular show or movie that inspired the puppets?
Um, I think it'd be tempting to say, yeah, there was, which is not something I usually like point out necessarily because when it comes to these sort of like creative decisions, it's never about one thing. Even if it kind of looks like, oh, hey, that game looks like Resident Evil, that game looks like such and such, whatever it is. The fact is, when you're doing these sort of creative things, you'd be surprised at just how many things end up coming together to make that creative vision come alive. So like some games that I took a lot of inspiration of for my friendly neighborhood were things like Myst,
Oh,
which
yeah.
yeah, it was a phenomenal game, right? Absolutely great game. But like the puzzle design in My Friendly Neighborhood was kind of made with Mist in mind,
Yeah.
and then thematically, there's like a million different things that we took inspiration from. I mean, there's some obvious puppety things, right? But then just individual pictures that we found, time spent behind stage productions when we were growing up, because I was pretty heavily involved in classical music, as were my brothers, and to a degree also stage, doing acting and stuff. uh, and on and on and on. Quite honestly, 99% of the things that we took influence from is probably stuff I couldn't even recall. There's just such a large wealth of things that you need to intake and kind of digest and chew on, and sometimes it's in individual pictures, minutia, details, things like that, stuff that is just tiny in the grand scheme of like the production.
Yeah, I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah, it's really hard. At least I think for doing a larger game, one that kind of takes a couple years, has a bunch of people working on it, that sort of thing. Um, I think it's pretty hard to honestly say, "Oh yeah, it was kind of based off of X and Y," and the reality of it is that the creative process is so much more complicated than that.
Yeah. The guy who made Myst actually opened up a game studio in a town that's like pretty close to my town, and it shut down within a couple years.
Oh, that's too
They
bad.
made one game, and I think it's called a Zed. It's on
Okay.
Steam. And it got bad reviews. And from what I've read, though, is it's not actually a bad game. It's just not what they promised with the Kickstarter.
That happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So another question about My Friendly Neighborhood is how was it working with Arlo?
Oh, Arlo is a darling. Arlo is super fun to work with. Arlo, Arlo is exactly as you would expect Arlo to be, namely fuzzy and blue. That's most important to note.
Yeah.
Arlo is very fuzzy and blue, and very passionate about the ideas, and yeah, it was super fun. There was some scheduling, just not problems, but trying to work around schedules was a little difficult, but that is nothing new. That happens with just about everybody that I've worked with, because everybody is so busy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So we had to find some very specific times where it's like, okay, we can do it today. We're just going to sit down. We're going to do it. Have like several hours in a row where we're just doing recording, and then I would spend the next several days cutting all of that up and putting it in. And I think we ended up having to do 2 or 3 different sessions. I can't remember how many exactly we ended up doing, but it was several.
Yeah, Arlo was actually the thing that got me into My Friendly Neighborhood.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
was
Yeah.
so my dad really liked the game.
Okay.
And he showed me the trailer, and I was like, "Oh my god, is that Arlo?" And that was like the thing that got me into it. So,
Yeah.
question is, are there any plans for a Switch port of My Friendly Neighborhood or a Switch 2 port?
Um, I I don't think I can fully talk about that at the
Yeah,
moment,
yeah.
but I will say we are looking into a lot of possibilities right now, and we've got some cool things lined up. I'll just kind of leave it at that.
Yeah, yeah. So, what is your favorite video game of all time?
Ooh, very interesting question. Okay. I'm just going to go out immediately and say probably can't name one. There's like this mental divide that I have, and I think anybody else that has done uh either video game development or maybe even just kind of like invested in creative work inside of like what used to be a hobby for them kind of relate to this, but there's like a mental divide in my head of things where it's like, okay, yeah, I love those games. Those are like the nostalgia ones. Those are the ones that I just enjoy, or that stuck with me for some reason. But then there's also like this other side of the brain that kind of looks at things from a more like formal perspective. So then it's like, okay, how do I marry these two sides of my brain in any way to like say, oh yeah, that one's my favorite of all of that. So like for instance, formally speaking, the Resident Evil 1 remake is probably the best game ever made. And I don't mean like that's the most enjoyable or like that is the most let's say complex, but just from the perspective of this is taking a whole bunch of different ideas, marrying them together, and they all design wise fit perfectly. From that perspective, Resident Evil 1 is pretty unbeatable. You could probably find other examples of games that do like really well at that. Resident Evil 1 also does really, really well at that. I've not personally found a game that I feel does that sort of formal design better. Is that my favorite game of all time then? Uh, I don't think I can say that, but I really do like it. You know what I mean? It's like, but what about Resident Evil 4? It's a little bit, a little bit looser, but man, it's fun to play. I've also got some really wild picks. I love Shining Force on the Genesis. I also
Oh
love
yes.
Sonic 3 and Sonic CD. Sonic
Mm.
CD has like some of the most like emotionally impactful sort of just like moments.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. You kind of know what I mean though,
No,
right?
I do get
It's
it.
yeah, it's
Like
just silly little 2D platformer, but something about the environment just
it's the
sticks with you.
yes, the opening cutscene and the music, the soundtrack is amazing. The level design is like batshit insane for some reason.
It's
Um,
weird. It's
it is
janky.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like it's one of those games that like I don't know. I love Sonic CD, but
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like Sonic 1 through 3 or Sonic and Knuckles. Like it feels like its own thing.
No, it very much is. And it's like melancholy and uncomfortable, but also like weirdly comforting. And it's not
Yeah.
like a horror game, but it sometimes you feel on edge with it. It's one of those things where it just kind of sticks with me personally. And I can totally respect that that's not for like formal qualities, although maybe it is. Maybe it's because the environment design is excellent. Maybe. And I mean clearly the OST is excellent. So maybe that's just like those particularly speak to me, I don't know. Um, but yeah, so when it comes to talking about, hey, what's your favorite? It's tough, right? Because there's just
Yeah.
like different things that I view as important for different reasons. And like I love Clubhouse games on the Switch.
Oh
That
yeah,
is
that's a good one.
yeah, unabashedly for me, a top 5, maybe top 3 Switch game. And I really mean that. I don't mean that as a meme. I truly think that like if I was to pick like a top 3 or top 5 Switch game list, that would be in there. But that's totally for personal reasons. Like I can also respect that there's no reason to be calling that a top 5 Switch game when you've got like 2 great Zelda games, a great Mario game, the best-selling Mario Kart of all time, the revitalization of the Pikmin franchise. You could go on and on and on and
Yeah.
on. But Clubhouse Games is one of my favorites, so it's very, very difficult in that sense.
Oh yeah. Like the thing with like Clubhouse games and stuff like that is I think that's a really valid like top 5 place because you can play that game endlessly.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can, and all of it is really detailed and quality.
Yeah.
Every part of it.
I never owned that game, but Nintendo did a free demo that has like 5 of the mini games,
Uh huh.
and that was what I played that of. I never really thought of a good enough reason to buy the full game though.
I think unless you really like those sort of like minutia, like oh, this is a really well rendered, super well designed version of this particular board game, and I get to kind of be happy about all the tiny little minutia and details about it. Unless you like that, it's not gonna be more than a board game collection, you know?
Yeah. For me, when it comes to like picking my favorite game, is I that did get harder because I've done some game development. Nothing
Okay.
public, sadly. I'm working on
Hmm.
something and it's hopefully coming out this October. But
Oh wow. Okay, that's cool.
it needs work. Um I'll talk about it with you after the interview. Um But yeah, like once I started to learn, like I've been using Unreal Engine mostly, and
Hmm.
it's now that I've like made games and stuff, it's become a lot like my standard for games has gone way up. And I've like been able to like critique stuff and been like, "Oh, that's how I do it better," or maybe I can't think of a way to do it better because it's just so good. And like I love like looking into that kind of stuff when it comes to games.
Yeah, it's a whole different perspective on the
Yeah.
medium for sure. Um, One game that comes to mind that I feel flew under the radar, and probably for good reason, but the Patrick Star game
Yeah,
came out what, like last year, right?
yeah.
Has done pretty poorly in terms of reception and sales. And you know what? It's just fascinating. It's just this fascinating little pseudo SpongeBob, I don't know, a goat sim slash in sim sort of weird little thing. I don't even really know what to call it. I guess it's technically a goat sim like, but it's super unique and super weird. And I think for what it does, it's pretty good. I'm not gonna say it's like really good, but I think it's pretty good, and probably a lot better than like what the general like mellow reception would say. I don't know. It's stuff like that that I think maybe from a designer's perspective is maybe even more interesting than just from a casual player's perspective, because you see all these little weird details like why are you able to sit on benches? What why did they add that to the game? What was the thought process behind like how that's going to interact with the other things that they are adding to this area in the game? It's there's just it's filled with small little ideas and details like that that are just really interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like my favorite game of all time, and I've been able to nail it down to like this for both. Like I feel like just overall, my favorite game of all time is Banjo Kazooie. Um,
Oh, interesting.
and I feel like that is like my perfect game. Like I do not think there's anything wrong with it besides the unskippable cutscene at the beginning of the game. That's 10 minutes long.
Makes replaying kind of difficult.
Yes, but yeah, like that one, I can't find like any problems with it, at least in my opinion. But the N64 version, I kind of can. But when they updated it for the Xbox, I think they fixed every issue that's in it.
I've never played that version. That might be interesting to take a look at.
Yeah, it's on Xbox Game Pass, and it's also in Rare Replay.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah, I've got Rare Replay. I'll take a look at that sometime.
it's the same game, but it's in widescreen, and a lot of things are fixed. And I
I'm trying to think of like I know I have some complaints about Banjo Kazooie, but I'm trying to like really formulate. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm trying to formulate in my head kind of what they are. I kind of feel like it is almost like the precursor to what we now have in like the that sort of super open world design. I kind of always felt like 3D platformers on the 64 were kind of that, except done in that era. And I think some of the same qualms that I have about that sort of open world design kind of apply, although it's not quite the same. I don't know. You're kind of interesting me to go back and take a look at it now.
oh yeah, it's an amazing game. I love it. Oh yeah, speaking of like open world stuff, is like when the N64 like before Rockstar Games became a game developer, I don't remember what they called, but they made this game called Body Harvest for the Nintendo
Oh yeah.
64.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's
I'm
like
well aware of it. Yeah.
that was like the precursor to like open world stuff. And
DMA Designs, I think, right? Was
yes,
their
yeah,
name. Yeah.
you're right.
Uh-huh.
And then when they did become Rockstar, they did Earthworm Jim 3D. And that was originally supposed to be open world, but it didn't end up being open world.
Huh. It's so interesting how that was always on their mind. They also did Lemmings, if I remember
Oh
correctly.
yeah, 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 yeah.
which Lemmings is actually really cool. I'm kind of sad that that didn't make the cut across the PC to console shift, you know.
Yeah. So, if you could recommend one thing you've worked on to the viewers watching this video, what would it be? Like, what is your like I guess like not necessarily your best work, but the piece of work that you think is the best for people to get introduced by?
That's a really interesting question. I guess I'm not sure how I would answer that. If I had a bunch of work that kind of fell into the same sort of categories, I think it'd be like, oh, I'll pick the one that I feel was the best. And that's unfortunately kind of not the case. I've made a text-based adventure, a survival horror game, and now I'm working on a sandbox wizard game. I'm not really sure exactly if those would appeal to the same person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, I suppose though the general thing that I think I've started to narrow down that I really enjoy doing when designing something is probably like I like exploration. So for anybody else that does like exploration, I'd say if you like having your own say in what is going on, I would probably recommend Wizard Boy. If you like narrative, sort of exploration into narrative, I would say you should probably try Kyle is Famous. And then if you like exploration more in just the sense of having a space that you kind of unlock over time, like a puzzle cube that you kind of slowly figure out, then My Friendly Neighborhood is definitely the correct one. And for the record, I do think that at this point, My Friendly Neighborhood still is like the most polished and most, let's say, traditionally interesting game that I've made to this point.
Oh yeah, for sure. I haven't actually seen much of your other stuff. I really need to look into that.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you because, like, again, if you're like a My Friendly Neighborhood fan, you wouldn't really naturally kind of stumble into other things that I've done. I don't know. This is a problem with me. I get a little bit too interested in like differing things when in reality, like from a business perspective, if I just locked down and was like, I'm gonna make survival horror games, I'd probably do better. You know, because like people would come along with me to my next project, but that really never happens because I just like get involved in something new. I don't know. It's probably just how it's going to be, but
Yeah, that's kind of my thing with this. I'm working on two games at once, which I know is like, don't do that. Every game developer I've talked to says stop doing that. Don't do that. But they kind of connect, even though they're completely different genres.
okay. So what genres are you working with right now?
So one of them, the one that I want to release this year, is a 3D platformer crossed with a Tetris-like kind of thing,
Okay.
and then the other one's a visual novel,
Okay.
just completely different.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
they do sort of connect to an extent.
So like narratively or like in terms of like how you kind of feel the shape comes together, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's the same kind of. I won't get too into it as to not spoil the viewers for when I put out like trailers and stuff, but they do kind of have the same sort of story, but completely different. Like same sort of story, kind of, but one of them's a lot more lighthearted than the other one.
Okay, interesting. That's kind of an interesting take of how you're going to come across two different projects being like I'm going to approach a similar narrative idea but from two completely different angles. That's very neat. I like
Yeah.
that idea.
So this is the biggest question of all. I ask this. I try to ask this to every single guest I have on.
Sure.
What's your favorite pizza topping?
Uh, okay. I am going to say soft mozzarella. And it's not necessarily because like I want to eat a pizza with just soft mozzarella, but because once you kind of have pizza that that instead of it being like, hey, we're spreading a bunch of cheese all over and then it's going to crisp up. Instead, you have that the type of pizza where it's like, okay, we've got the sauce, and then you add these blobs of soft cheese on it. It kind of opens your view to like, oh wait, pizza has this whole other category that exists, and I personally really like that category. That's kind of the pizza that I tend towards. So in my mind, that's the entryway into the type of pizza I personally like a lot, which is that sort of like, I mean, I think it's technically the more traditional kind, right? The thin crust with like minimal minimal toppings, or if there are a lot of toppings, then it would be things like the soft mozzarella, or basil leaves, or things like that.
Hell yeah. My favorite pizza, not a pizza topping, my favorite pizza topping is probably Hawaiian pizza, which I know I'm probably going to get killed for saying that, but
I know a lot of people do. I like Hawaiian pizza.
I
I
love
think it's
Hawaiian pizza
nice.
too.
Yeah.
Same. But my favorite place to get pizza is Circle K, the gas station. Like
Okay. All
I
right.
love it. Every time my birthday is on a holiday, so no other place is open besides the gas station. So I always get
Uh-huh.
Circle K pizza on my birthday. It
Uh-huh.
is I love Circle K pizza. Please sponsor me. I
That's awesome.
like it
That's
is
such a fun way to like pizza.
I love it. Like it's just so good. Like I don't even know when I first tried it. I don't even know, and I don't know anything. It's just so good. Like if I had to recommend anyone in the world anything, it's try Circle K pizza. Like
Try Circle K. Have I ever? I don't think I've ever tried
it's
Circle K
I
pizza.
know so many people they always say that, and it's so good though. Like
Well, maybe this is my moment,
it
you know?
is, yes.
Maybe this is it. Yeah.
So yeah, um, yeah, like I don't know, it's just so good. Like Circle K pizza is just absolutely amazing. Um, like and the thing is too is price wise, I think it might be the best priced pizza. Um,
Oh, I could believe that, because people are
um,
coming in just to like grab something and go a lot of the time.
yeah, it's like I don't even like I believe that it's just frozen stuff from a factory, but I don't care. It tastes so good. My mom has an allergy to gluten, so she can't eat it, but I've been trying to talk her into eating it. Like I think it's worth risking your health for. It's that good.
Okay, so the question here, legitimately interested, how do you feel about frozen pizza? If you have the suspicion that Circle K pizza is frozen, how do you feel about frozen pizza?
Like frozen pizza that you buy at the store and then you like
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, like
okay.
like you get your what, like Red Baron or whatever else it is,
Yeah, yeah. So I was actually talking to my dad about this in the car yesterday, and I think it's good, but it's like nowhere as good as like pizza from the store. Like
Okay.
even though Circle K pizza is probably frozen, it's not like the kind of frozen pizza you can buy on the thing. It's like their specific recipe.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's unique to them, but like frozen pizza's good. I feel like it can be good if the pizza place is shut down or whatever, and you can't go, or whatever, and you have frozen pizza. Frozen pizza's awesome. But the one thing I don't like is bagel bites.
Yeah, I get that. I've been known to chomp down on a couple here and there, but I will say I really respect not liking bagel bites.
I like pizza rolls though; those are good.
I definitely, these are things that I no longer eat, by the way. I'm at that point in life where it's like, okay, I'm not able to eat all the yummy delicious, frozen pizza bites or anything.
Yeah.
But I will say, in my prime, as it were, I have been known to house many different types of frozen pizza related things.
Hell yeah. So before we finish the interview, what is one piece of advice you could give to the viewers?
One piece of advice, in life or in games?
Let's do both, starting with games.
Okay, in games. Um, maybe this is related, maybe this isn't. I think that if you are not in the habit of using games as a way to make memories with other people, you might be missing the thing that makes them most worthwhile.
Yes, play Mario Kart with your family when you finish watching a movie.
Yeah,
Like
because
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, for somebody that maybe makes games for a living, okay, sure, sitting down and playing a game by yourself, or like if that's a way you relax, totally get it. But I will say that like use that time to be with other people as well. Why not? You can still enjoy playing through a game together, and you get the benefit of being able to be forming awesome relationships, or keeping tabs on people, because sometimes people need you, stuff like that. I would definitely say that's a huge deal. I say this comes to mind because I've noticed over time that like how I am and feel after playing games for a while is severely different if I've been doing it with people versus insularly, you know? And I kind of wonder if maybe that is the case for at least people like myself. I tend to be a bit extroverted. Perhaps it is the case for people like myself, but not for people who aren't like me. I don't know. But it comes to mind for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing with like even single player games, you can have another person in the room, and
Oh
like you can
yeah.
hang out and do stuff. Like I
Oh yeah.
remember
It's
when
like
I yeah
the best way. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no
Yeah.
it's okay. But like I remember when I was younger, Mario Galaxy, I we played me and my dad played through that together, and there was a two-player mode, but it really sucked. And you had to like play as like a little star, and you could shoot things. It was the stupidest thing. So I
Uh
was
huh.
always player one, and he was player two. But it was still
Uh
such a
huh.
fun experience, and I like that was amazing. That was amazing, and I feel like I have so many better memories with Mario Galaxy than Mario Odyssey because I played Mario Odyssey by myself.
Yeah.
Galaxy I played with my dad. And but I do like Odyssey better, but I wish I did experience that with like hanging out with somebody.
Yeah, I think it makes a huge difference both in how we approach the game that we're playing, but also in like that more permanent sense of like what is actually valuable and good in the world. And certainly people are not made to exist by themselves. It is rare that anybody can be truly happy for a very long extended period of time and not suffer some sort of like mental problem or some sort of even physiological problem from not being with other people. Especially when it comes to things that you love and that you enjoy, being with other people in those spaces seems to be just like this enormously important and beneficial thing. So invite people in. That's what I'm saying. Invite them over with your pizza snacks. you
Yes.
know?
Circle K Pizza, Mario
Circle
Kart.
K Pizza Mario Party. That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
But which Mario Party are we thinking though?
Oh, I think Jamboree is actually really pretty good.
Yes, that one. Okay, I hate to be this kind of guy, but Mario Party is one of those series that I never got into. But the one I had when I was really young was 8 for the Wii. I think it was Mario Party 8. And that
Yes,
one
that
was
makes
fun.
sense.
I
Yeah.
liked that one, and there was the level where it was like the tycoon one, and you could buy and upgrade. It was like Monopoly, and
Okay.
that level was freaking amazing. I would pay $60 for that level alone. Like 80 actually. Modern Nintendo
oh.
pricing.
Oh, interesting. What a hot take. Yeah.
It's a really good level.
Okay.
But yeah, no, Jamboree's a fun one. I'm excited to see what the DLC for that's gonna look like.
Yeah, I I'm very interested as well. I feel like Jamboree kind of like I can see Nintendo's developmental direction, and I don't mean as a company. I mean like with the individuals who are making directorial calls.
Mhm.
You can kind of see the change in that from like slowly over the GameCube generation to the Wii generation, now onto Switch and Switch 2, and they're kind of edging more towards this like mini strategy sort of feel to a lot of what you're doing. So like kind of
Yeah.
strategy mixed with execution. Which the new Mario Kart is 100% that. Like
I
it is all about.
love the new Mario Kart.
Yeah, Mario Kart World's really good. I know that there's certainly some aspects that have rubbed people the wrong way, and for honestly, probably rightfully so. But I will say, if you just kind of look at it as just like, hey, what is this thing, and is it fun? Not even as a factor of like it being the next Mario Kart in a series or anything. It's it's a great game. Mechanically, it's excellent. I think the open world has a sort of unique flavor that it gives the experience that a different or more complex open world kind of wouldn't give it. It's very good. But I mean, if you think about like, okay, how am I going to approach this track? Am I going to do a charge jump here? Am I going to drift here? Am I going to go farther out? Am I going to bag? Am I going to front run? You know, like all of these things are like super intentional and more strategic than kind of just like playing Mario Kart. Yeah, you know what I mean? Which to a degree, I kind of felt like Mario Kart 8 was like that. It's like, yeah, do the thing and do it well, and you'll do well. And maybe you need to think about like whether you should bag or not. This one seems really different, and I kind of
Yeah.
see that in other Nintendo design, like Jamboree. You know?
Yeah, Mario Kart World has like significant. It feels a lot more like Diddy Kong Racing. I feel like the,
Oh,
as
interesting.
well. Like not control wise, but like the way that it's designed and stuff. But no, yeah, you are right that it's a lot more strategic than Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8 was a lot more like driving focused, and like the enemy, I mean, not the enemies, the items would hurt you and they would like not be great for you to hit them. And there's like but there's a lot less incentive to avoid items in 8 than I feel like there is in World. Because
Yeah.
in World,
Oh,
you
sorry.
get sent back to like last place in like a millisecond. But in 8, you don't lose that much like time.
So, yes, I agree. Interesting little note, the amount of time that you get stunned from any individual item is actually, from what I can tell, significantly reduced in
Oh
Mario
yeah.
Kart World. And I think it's actually more of a factor of like how so like for instance, catch-up mechanics in Mario Kart World are extremely powerful. In 8 they were good, right? In Mario Kart World they're really good, which kind of means if you get hit for a little bit of time, other people who are not hit have like more ability to go past you faster, as well as the fact that there's more people, as well as the fact that the tracks are designed with a lot more a lot higher skill ceiling for, you know, shortcutting and stuff like that. You kind of put all of that together and it's like, yeah, it's even a little bit of slowdown, you can jump from like first to 24th. Legitimately, I've seen that happen, you know.
I've even had it happen to me myself.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm not the best Mario Kart player. I'm all right. Knockout Tour is the best thing they've ever invented. Like that's like the
I like
best
Knockout Tour.
new addition I think I've
Yeah.
seen throughout that entire series.
Yeah, I agree. I think Knockout Tour is a great addition. Yeah. Oh, well, here's me flexing my Mario Kart skills. I have currently, I think it's 90,000 on Knockout Tour, and my cap for Grand Prix was not 90,000. Sorry, not 9,000. That would be crazy. 90,000 would be crazy. 9,000 on Knockout Tour and 8,800 on Grand Prix, which from what I understand is actually pretty good. Apparently, getting past to that is pretty difficult.
Hell yeah. I need to spend more time with it because I've been playing it like every chance I can. There's just so many games to play right now.
Sure are. Yeah. I just picked up Dropsy the Clown on the Steam sale. I'm excited about Dropsy the Clown.
What's that?
Dropsy the Clown is yeah, let me read the let me read the line here. A non-traditional take on the classic point-and-click adventure formula, starring the game's perpetually carefree namesake Clown as he explores a richly detailed world full of colorful characters and sinister secrets, doling out hugs along the way.
Okay, that
I
sounds amazing.
Yeah, it looks amazing. You look at any little bit of it, and it's like, man, what is this? It is so bizarre. It's made by the same guy who did Hypnospace Outlaw, if that
Oh
gives you
yeah,
an
yeah.
idea. Yeah. Um. So I mean, it's probably excellent is what I'm thinking.
Mm. So now the life advice for the viewers.
Yeah, the life advice. I think the thing that I want to impart to other people as best as I can is be willing to listen to other people's opinions without knee-jerk reactions.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
I think if yeah, well, no, go ahead.
I agree. That is like the best piece of advice ever.
Yeah, and it's really hard. It's really hard, and we all are struggling doing that. All of us. Everybody on any side of any argument, both sides are having a really hard time kind of being level-headed about things. And I totally understand why. I am also part of that. I think that it would be of great benefit to a lot of us if we all could take differing opinions first as something to be thought about and chewed over, and then in some cases secondly as things that deserve um not being like inflamed about, but having legitimate pushback on, because
Oh
there
yeah.
definitely are things that are not good and should be pushed back on, but that's not nearly as much as what does get like some really inflamed opinions about. Um, and I think a lot of that is from knee jerk reaction and not as much from actually sitting down and thinking how you actually truly really feel about something, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I agree with that. That's like the best piece of advice I think anybody's ever given the on the podcast so far. I don't
Oh,
even know.
really? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't even know to call myself a podcast or not. I call myself a podcast when I'm talking to people about it who like if I'm talking to like my grandparents or grandparents' friends or people who aren't really into the internet stuff. I'll call it a podcast because that's like the easiest way to explain it. But I don't know because it's just interviews. There's no like formula to it. I don't really have like I don't edit the videos very much. It's pretty much just a raw interview.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is, but it's a fun show and I've been doing it for a year and a half now and it has changed my life.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. That's actually really cool to hear.
Cuz like I got into game development. I've known so many like crazy people who have hooked me up with like a ton of other crazy people and I'm working on cool stuff. Two games, a really interesting movie and yeah, it's just like I love doing this. And to every viewer who's watching right now, thank you. And thank you,
It's
John.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Yeah. I totally get it. Having people along for the ride of what you're creating makes it feel so much more worthwhile.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, to people who are engaging, especially with content of people that aren't like the top 1% of creators or stuff, it seriously is so much different when you've got people along for the ride with you.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, any quick little comments or things you want to tell the viewers before we wrap up the interview?
Let's see. Do I have any quick other comments? Yeah. Um, Protein can, if you have blood sugar problems, eat more protein, but also eat complex carbs, because if you eat too much protein or too much sugar, you will have blood sugar problems either way. I found that one out. So
Very good advice.
thanks.
So, where can everybody support you?
I honestly, I'm kind of spread around on a bunch of socials. I do have a Twitter/X account that I post pretty regularly on. I do have my own Discord. So if you have interest in, Wizard Boy or My Friendly Neighborhood or Kyle is Famous even, definitely head over there. Best thing, as always, is if you have interest in a game that I've made, even if it's cheap on sale, totally makes sense. Go ahead and pick her up and maybe even leave a review. That's the stuff that really ends up throwing the algorithm into us indie devs' favor is stuff like that.
Yeah.
And keep a lookout over the next few months. I've got like quite literally some of the biggest and coolest things coming through the pipeline that I've ever been a part of, and I am super excited about the rest of this year. It's going to be really really crazy.
Yeah, or even like go tell a friend about the games you've played because that benefits the games greatly.
It's huge. Word of mouth is still the biggest marketing source, period. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's an honor to have somebody say they would like to sit down and listen to you talk. You know what I mean?
Thank